Young man, I wish to speak to you today about pornography.
Every day I see men who wish they hadn't slipped off the edge and made their wives cry.
This was not a good thing to be doing, but like addiction happens, it just little by little, and I couldn't stop.
I was attacked by Satan from the cradle, and I never got a chance to experience mortality without this cloud over me.
I was so far gone that I had no idea whether it was the spirit or the adversary.
It's just a preconception that Satan has placed in us since coming into this world kind of as teenagers, that there's no way we could ever amount to anything.
Will you ever be rescued? Will you make it through your own survival story? The answer is yes.
This is a new weapon that Satan has been using.
Deception,
we're not talking
distraction,
about it.
discouragement.
I fight to watch men reaccess the power of God.
I am looking tonight.
It's not out there.
It's become far too normalized.
It's
for men, young and old.
I realize now that I am a warrior
who care enough about this battle between good and evil
against the adversary
to sign on and speak
if
up.
I turn my life around and be the person that they need.
We are at war. And for these next few minutes, I want to be a one-man recruiting station.
Welcome. There you go.
Welcome to the Eternal Warrior Podcast, helping young people in their quest for self-mastery, sharing stories from the battlefront in the war against Satan and pornography.
Yeah.
Today we have a special guest with us. We've got Richard here. Tell us a little bit about himself and explore his battles and how he's conquered Satan in his own life. So Richard, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, totally. First of all, thank you guys so much for letting me be here. It's a huge honor to be on the podcast. This is awesome. So yeah, a little bit about me. I'm 23 years old. Right now I'm living in Provo, Utah, going to school at BYU. Got married this summer.
What?
To my
Congrats,
awesome
man.
wife, Betsy. Yeah, so that's been a big part of the summer.
Dang.
Other highlight is that we got a cat, which is almost as exciting as getting married.
Of course. Yeah, because it's not complete. You know, they talk about the triangle. It's actually a square.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
you got your wife, and God, and your cat is somewhere in there.
He's in there somewhere.
The cat should be down here, but really the cat thinks it's up here next to God. Yeah, that's
true. He definitely does. And I'm not biased, but he's the cutest cat of all time. So
yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I agree. I haven't seen your cat, but I agree.
Yeah. You have to. What else about me? I'm applying to law school right now. That's
sweet.
Nervous and exciting, and a whole bunch of emotions there.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So, where? I mean, obviously you live in Provo now, but where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Katy, Texas, which is like a little suburb a little bit west of Houston.
Oh.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Katy, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Is that anywhere close to McAllen?
I don't think so. Texas is a really big place.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I was going to say.
So odds are it's probably hours away from anywhere else.
Yeah, I was going to say Texas is only as big as 3 or 4 European countries.
Yeah.
In retrospect, that was probably a very stupid amateur question. It reveals how much I know about Texas.
Hey, it's okay. To be fair, I lived in Texas, and I'm not even 100% sure where McAllen is. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn about Texas.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Well, I've got my niece. My niece and her husband just moved to Dallas, Texas.
Okay, sweet.
I know that's nowhere near Houston, but they did move to Texas, so that's good.
Yeah, Dallas is a cool area. That's a fun place to live. That's cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, given that, how I guess, what is some of your background with pornography, with this problem?
Oh,
How did you fall into this?
Okay, good question. And there's a long, complicated answer, so buckle up.
All right. I'll buckle in,
So also, like, this is crazy because I've never told my entire story, like, beginning to end, like, ever. So you guys are getting, like, the rough draft, unedited, raw, of just the details that come floating back to my memory. But so my first sexual experience happened when I was, like, 6 years old. I was over at a friend's house, and he was like, "Hey, check this out." And I was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And so I had no idea what was going on. I was 6 years old, before the age of accountability, easily. But I was like, "This is cool. This is exciting. Like, this feels great. I don't know what's happening, but let's party, man." And so that was kind of my introduction to sex and sexual activity as a thing that a person can do, and I guess that's kind of where my innocence was lost, right? Because after that, I just always had like this kind of curiosity surrounding like sexual things. Like, I wanted to people already like obviously have like this innate curiosity like surrounding things like that, but like I feel like mine was heightened because I'd had this experience, and I was like,
right,
I want to know more. I want to see everything. I want more of this. And so when I was 10 or 11, when my family moved to Houston, that's when I started like learning, oh, I can like Google things and find pornography. This is like really exciting. Like, wow. And I was just so like, I knew obviously that like what I was doing was wrong, but I had no idea like how to cope with that or how to grapple with that.
Yeah. Do you remember how old you were when you moved to Houston?
Yeah, I moved to Houston in 2011, so I was 10 years old. And that was when like my parents had an iPad, and I was like, yo, unrestricted access to the internet. I can search all these things. And like just the most like amateur, like 10-year-old search terms for pornography that you can possibly imagine. Like naked girls, like, so.
Oh man.
And that like quickly took me down all kinds of rabbit holes that are, you guys know how the internet is and how terrible it is.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my introduction to pornography, and just kind of as this exploration of this new and exciting thing. And then I remember so vividly when my parents like found out, like they had that same iPad, and they like clicked on the like little search bar in the top right of Safari, and they saw in the search history little drop down bar the things that I had been searching, but they had no idea who it was who had been searching these things. And they were like, oh my gosh, like when we had these kids over for like a mutual activity, did they get on our iPad and start looking at pornography, or was it one of our kids? Or like, I don't even know what went through their minds, but they just didn't know.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of siblings?
Yeah, I'm the third of 6 siblings, so there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I think that was among the reasons I thought that I could like hide and get away with it. Because I remember my dad came up to me like in my bedroom late at night, and I'm on the top of my little bunk bed, and he's like, son, did you search anything on the iPad? And I was just like frozen, because I was like, he can't know. Like, nobody can know.
Yeah.
And so I just like lied straight to his face, and I was like, nope, it wasn't me. And I think that was like a big demonstrative moment of how I learned to lie, right?
Yeah.
Like,
there's
like a scripture somewhere. Yeah, there's like a scripture somewhere that says like Satan was a lie from the beginning, and I feel like you could describe me the same way. At least from like 10 years on. Like I learned to lie like so well, and that was like a big part of my life, was like lying so that I could get away with finding more pornography so that I could beat this addiction, which then made me have to lie more to cover up those other lies, which is like such a great strategy.
Dude, same.
Really, really foolproof.
Same.
And so yeah, then I was leading this double life, and my parents probably had a suspicion that it was me who was doing all this stuff, because they would lock down the iPad, but then I found another way to find pornography. Then they would like, oh look, someone's using this, we need to lock this down. And then finally it was when I was like using like a Kindle to look up like one of those old Kindles. Like,
oh man,
I have a testimony of, among so many other things, that if you want to find pornography, you can find it no matter what. Like, there's nowhere in this earth that is safe from somebody who really wants to find pornography, which is really sad, but it's just the way our world is, right? It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that was a moment where my mom was like, okay, were you looking up like this? We found this stuff on the Kindle and you were the one using the Kindle. And they basically like confronted me, and I was like, yeah, it was me. I bawled my eyes out, felt like I had ruined everything. I was the worst. I was evil. And my parents just didn't really know how to cope with it, right? Like, I have the most angelic parents of all time, and they are so amazing, but they just never, to my knowledge, experienced anything like this before. And so, and especially like when the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, of which I'm a member, and I'm assuming we're all members, but maybe not everybody listening to the podcast is a member, right? So in our church, I feel like there's, you never know, right? There's like a lot of messaging about like pornography is evil, like don't touch it, turn away, stay away. And so when I heard things like that, and I think when a lot of people in the church hear things like that, they're like, oh, therefore people who look at pornography are evil. At least that was my experience. I heard those things and I heard, oh, like I do this thing, I'm evil. And like I cannot let anybody see that.
Yeah.
And my parents, bless their hearts. Oh, sorry. You go.
I was just going to mention, I have a friend who has a whole podcast just dedicated to religious scrupulosity. And that's a huge thing. And it all starts with when there's a standard set by the church, and we take it to the next step in our minds. Like,
100%.
It's, you should avoid pornography, and then our next step is, therefore, if you view pornography, you're a terrible person. And another thing about the church is that, you know, they're so good. They have all these great ways to prevent getting into it. But as far as when an addiction comes in, the tactics that they suggest are not designed for that. They're not designed for a real addiction. And so that causes a lot of stress and beating yourself up.
Yeah, 100%. I could not agree more with that, Eli, because like my parents, coming from this church perspective, they were like, oh my gosh, like the only thing I know how to teach about pornography is like, don't do it. And their son comes like, I've been doing this. And they're like, shoot, well, don't do it. Like they didn't really know what to say.
What now? Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. So that led to me, that confession, which was like forced out of me because I was still totally committed to lying, right? Brought me to my bishop. I told my bishop about it. He was like, okay, like, let's work through this. And I was okay for like a few weeks, maybe. But in my heart, I wasn't really repentant, right? Like, I was looking for my next opportunity to find pornography. And that kind of pattern, like, lasted throughout most of my adolescence and teenage years. Like, I have some way to access pornography. And, like, I would have, like, either it was, like, a phone or a computer or a laptop or a tablet or whatever it was. I would find some way to access pornography. That would be my go-to source. I would indulge like every single day. Like I can't, at the worst, it was like a daily thing, right? And somewhere along the line, masturbation became a part of this too. I remember learning how to do that at some point.
Right.
Because that just seems to naturally come along.
Yeah.
And then
they walk hand in hand with each other.
Yeah. And so like my two lives, like the front that I would put on around everybody, and then my secret life of addiction just kept growing like further and further apart, where I was like always really active in church, I was called to like leadership positions and like the deacon's quorum and the teacher's quorum and the priest's quorum. And I was always like super involved. My family's all like super active. My dad's in the bishopric, all this stuff, right? But then
Wow.
I have this double life where I'm like, nobody can know about this. And so I will lie until the day I die, right? I was pretty much committed to that. I was like,
Wow.
I'm going to just be a liar. And I was like, and somehow after I had been in it for so long, it became kind of like a numb thing where I was like, I'm kind of past feeling like this is just my life. This is the way it is. And when I would get caught by my mom or my dad or whoever caught me looking at pornography, the next time, my feeling wouldn't be one of like, oh my gosh, you're right, I should stop. It would be like disappointment, like, oh man, now I can't do this anymore. So I was like so into the addiction and such a like a willing participant in it for so long that like that cycle continues until I turn 18. And I'm like, wow, okay, I'm 18. The next step in my life, that's the kind of this half life is to serve a mission, right? I need to serve a mission. My parents expect me to do it. It's the right thing to do. That's what I'm going to do. But wait, I have this massive problem that I haven't dealt with. What am I going to do? And so that was, oh yeah, you go, Eli.
Well, I think a lot of people who haven't dealt with this, or don't know that a loved one or or they're experiencing this, they wouldn't expect it to arise with someone like you who was like continuing to rise in leadership opportunities. You probably did you have a lot of friends?
Like I had like a few close friends, but
okay,
it wasn't like I was like the popular kid at school or anything like that.
Well, either way, it's crazy where we can find this and where this goes in and how much, because we can do a lot of stuff. Like it doesn't like impact our health. It's not a visible sign. It's more of a spiritual thing. And that's really, if someone's really good at hiding it, it's really hard to tell if someone is struggling. Which just makes it more devastating.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's. Yeah, you go, Garrett.
I was just gonna say, your story is very similar to my own with some of the lies and the double life that I lived, and something upon reflection to my youth, I would say that that did terrible things to my psyche, living the double life. So I'm curious if you've recognized a similar, shall we call it trauma, to your own psychological health because of this double life.
Oh yeah, I think that's a great question, and yeah, like the farther along I get in recovery, the more I realize like, wow, like this has really affected me in so many like emotional, spiritual, psychological ways that I didn't recognize when I was in the addiction because I was just numb to it all, right? But now I'm realizing like, oh wait, I do have like some religious scrupulosity and anxiety, and like I'm afraid that somebody's going to like find me out even though I'm not even lying anymore, like these weird like fears and anxieties that I'm grappling with.
That's just
even
kind
now
of
that I'm
left over
in the process of recovery. Wow, it's interesting.
That's crazy. So you want to pick up from where you're 18 and you're preparing for a mission?
Yeah, totally. So my life plan was like laid out before me from the beginning by my parents, right? Like you turn 18, serve a mission, come back, go to school, get married, whatever. And I was 18 and I was not worthy. Like I was struggling in this addiction, and then also I'd had some girlfriends along the way and had made mistakes with them as well. So like there were a bunch of things between me and missionary me, right? There was this huge gap.
Mm.
Oh,
Maurice.
And so I was like,
Maurice would always tell us he has a very interesting way of teaching where he just kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. And he's like, you know what's better than losing by yourself is losing with other people.
Yeah, well.
And it was always like, oh, Maurice, no, stop.
That's
so
funny.
Sorry, that just reminded me of that.
No, you're good. You're good. That's funny. Maurice, what a guy. Love
Man.
him. Shout out to Maurice.
Shout out for Maurice.
What a great guy. So yeah, where was I? So along the way, I guess I should say, like I had tried, like my mom had taken me to a therapist who was like totally useless and didn't help me at all. And I remember listening to y'all. I just listened to y'all's episodes in the podcast where you introduce yourselves and tell your stories, and I'm like, wow, like we've pretty much been through the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, just like this therapist guy, and like he was really nice, but like he did not help me that much. Like I went, he told me some things. He was like, move your tent away from the cliff, and I was like, okay, but how on earth do I do that? And all this stuff. And then I tried another program that my dad gave me. And then I finally found, through the help of my dad, who'd been like so helpful in all this. My dad was like, if you're serious about recovery, okay, I need to take a few steps back. So when I was 18, I had this moment where I was like, I need to serve a mission. And it was kind of like this crisis point. Like I have to do this thing. Like not only because my parents expected of me, but because I felt like it was really what I needed to do. Yeah. Right? So I had this moment where I came to my dad and I was like, Dad, I've struggled with pornography for the longest time, right? As long as I can remember. And I can't do this. I can't beat this alone. Like, can you help me? And that was like that was a huge pivotal turning point, was when I finally realized like, okay, this addiction is keeping me from the life that I want to live.
Yeah.
And my dad is just the coolest guy ever. And he was like, if you're serious about recovery, I will do like whatever it takes to help you. And so my dad like starts doing all this research into different programs and stuff. And I tried one program for a while, and that one was kind of helpful, but not exactly what I was looking for. And then we came to Sons of Helaman. And all this time, by the way, I'm like, I go to BYU. I'm like, at first I start telling people I'm just going to do a semester and then go on my mission. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to do a year and then go on my mission. And then that turned into, I'm going to do 2 years and then go on my mission. The mission just kept getting pushed back and back and back as I kept struggling and struggling and struggling.
Yeah.
But with Sons of Helaman, I had this great group, and I had the most amazing, like clinician for my group, Greg Dunford. I don't know if you guys have met him, but he is like, shout outs to Greg Dunford. He's the coolest guy. Love him.
He's actually my clinician right now. So
no way.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have to tell him I said this, and also give him this podcast so that he can listen to it. But like literally, he was just so awesome, so understanding, so like helpful in helping me to recognize how God actually felt about me, that I wasn't evil, that I wasn't like this like spawn of Satan, right? But that God actually did love me right here, right now, and that he wants to help me get out of this addiction. And so that was just huge. And with his help and with the help of my group, I got to a point where I could go. Age 20, after 2 years of college, right? I remember when my stake president called me and he was like, okay, like you reached a point where you can serve a mission. Like, well, like you can turn in your papers. And I just remember crying. I just had this idea in my mind, like, what if I never get there, right? What if this never happens? What if that's never my life? And so that was just an absolute miracle that I got to that point.
Oh, man.
So then comes the mission, right? And I serve 4 months in Idaho and then 18 months in Argentina. And Garrett, I know did you say you served in Argentina as well? Yeah, so
that's right. Yeah.
What mission did you serve in?
Mendoza.
Okay, I was in Resistencia, which is like the
Okay.
northeasternmost.
Yeah.
But I hear they have good wine in Mendoza. So.
Yes, it's big problem. Big problem.
Oh, Garrett knows. Uh-oh.
You know, man, he's like, I could justify Mendoza has great wine.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I remember one of my areas
Oh dear.
was just, boundary to boundary was just solid vineyard.
Oh wow.
That's all it was. And I was there during their yearly festival, and it was a huge festival, all centered on wine. That was it.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah,
That's crazy.
That sounds very Argentine.
Yes, yeah.
I served in Layton, Utah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
I don't know how the wine is there, but I'm sure it's pretty good.
Probably not as good as Argentina.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Tell you that.
So,
Let's
yeah,
see.
where was I?
Let's see.
The
served your mission.
I wanted to
yeah.
ask. Oh, what did I want to ask? That moment where you realize you can go on a mission.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I realized I forgot about that moment. I forgot if I mentioned it in my podcast. It brought me back to one moment I had in seminary where, and it wasn't anything. I was actually going out in the hall to get a drink of water. And while I'm leaning over the drinking fountain, all of a sudden, God puts into me a vision of me not worrying about my addiction. And that was so powerful. That was huge. Like, it's, and the whole thing was, what's your identity? Are you an addict, or are you a child of God? And yeah, did that play a huge role? Do you think one of the big things Greg Dunford taught you was perspective change, like that shift to child of God?
100%. I remember one of the activities he had us do, he was like, okay, we're going to spend some time. He probably doesn't remember this, but he's changed my life. So huge shout out to Greg. I love that guy. Like one of the activities we did, he was like, okay, we're going to open this notebook, like open your notebook, get out a pen, and you're just going to sit there and like kind of meditate and pray. And then I want you to ask, like, God, like, what do you think of me right now? How do you feel about me right now? And like, I just remember the feelings of so much love and mercy and grace just washing over me as I wrote down words that I realized I did believe that God felt this way about me, that he loved me, that he cared about me as his son, that he knew me and he knew all of my struggles and all of my imperfections and all of my problems, and he loved me anyway.
That was
huge.
That is so powerful.
That was huge.
Yeah, God listens and he responds.
Yeah.
And now Garrett's crying.
You're not supposed to announce it.
Well, not everyone is watching. I have to say what's going on.
For the listeners at home.
But I want to say, yeah, God listens, and who you are is so important. Like I said earlier, like it doesn't. I want to revise what I said earlier about like the church resources on addiction. The church does have resources on addiction. It's just that what's preached about pornography often doesn't help for people who are already in the midst of it. But what really does help is just those fundamental gospel things that I feel like President Nelson has really been trying to revive. Like, who are you? You're a child of God. You're a disciple of Christ. I forgot how he said it. It was like child of God, child of the covenant, and a disciple of Christ. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge. And a lot of the clinicians, well, I know Maurice for sure, refers back to that a lot. It's just so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I think you're so right about the whole identity thing. Like, when we remember who we really are and root out that evil image of ourselves, or the image of ourselves as evil that Satan wants us to believe, that's huge.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to remind myself over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, that
because otherwise, what are we? Just born sinners, inclined to disobey God at every turn.
I feel like I need to get one of those tattoos across my forehead that says "You are not evil."
Write it backwards so that it reads right in the mirror.
So you can look in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Maybe I'll get it. I'll get it tattooed in Elvish so that people can't read it.
Yeah.
I'll look at it like, oh, like, okay.
They'll think you're like a thug or something, but you're like, I'm just like, mental self-care. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just mental self-care.
What does it say? Whatever you want it to say. Oh man, Richard, did we catch up to speed, or are there a few more steps?
Just about. Just a few more steps in my life journey, I guess you could call it. So I'm on my mission now, and you guys know this missionary work is hard, and I wasn't as emotionally prepared as I should have been. I think I had achieved, Sons of Human had helped me achieve the sobriety that my stake president was looking for, but it didn't really get at the root of like the emotional, spiritual sources of my pain that was driving me to pornography, if that makes sense.
Right.
And so I struggled on the mission with pornography and masturbation as well. It wasn't as bad as before. It wasn't every day, and thank goodness most of the time it wasn't even like more than once or twice a month. But there were times that it was worse and times that it was better. And newsflash for all those who haven't served missions yet, that won't necessarily get you sent home, right? I had this idea in my mind, like, oh my gosh, I messed up. They're going to send me home.
Yeah.
And at this point, I had reached a point where I was always just being 100% honest and accountable to my priesthood leaders, which has been such a big part of my recovery. Again, going back to that moment when I was 18 with my dad, that kind of marked this shift from living in a lie to learning how to tell the truth again. And that's when I started really just being honest with my priesthood leaders, with my parents, with myself. And so on the mission, I struggled. I did better, but it wasn't perfect. And I was still learning and growing the whole time. My mission was amazing. Don't get me wrong. It was like one of the best experiences of my life. I come home, and then probably the two most instrumental people in my recovery have been, one, my wife, and two, Dallin Loosely. Huge shout out to Dallin. Love that guy, the guy who gave you the referral, Garrett. I cannot praise him highly enough. He's another group leader for Men of Moroni, and the Sons of Mosiah program, which is the email chain that you can be on as a missionary.
Yeah. So so let me get this clear, because I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm still getting to know all the different groups. I've only been to Sons of Helaman. So Men of Moroni, that's the adult group.
Yes.
And do they have a YSA and then a married section, or is it?
In my experience, no. It's just they're all kind of thrown in there together.
Okay.
Yeah, all just adult men.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that Sons of Mosiah is they send out emails to missionaries that are in the fight. And yeah, did Did you experience that on the mission, being in Sons of Mosiah?
Like, what aspect of it? Like getting the emails and stuff?
Yeah.
Or
were you part of it? Like, I don't even know what they do. Is it?
Yeah. Well, this is a great time to give a shout out to Sons of Mosiah and Dallin Loosely, who's like the program coordinator. You get an email every P day, which like has like the captain's log questions, like why are you fighting?
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Read
then
the book
like
for
some
context.
specialized questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to like Dragons They Fight, read the book.
Yeah. Captain's log.
And yeah, and then like you get like Dallin would send me like specialized responses to my answers, give me feedback, tell me like, or like even like spar with me and be like, that answer didn't seem very strong. Like, what are you like? Are you gonna lose? And I'd have to be like, heck no, I'm not gonna lose. And
nice.
So it's like pretty much on an email basis, like weekly emails through P-Day time. But it was a really, really good way to help me stay accountable and stay connected with guys in Life Changing Services group. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh,
I didn't even know about this program, so that's really cool. That's an awesome resource for missionaries. Because
highly recommend.
As you're aware, since you've seen my episode, I'm fully aware that falling back into pornography on your mission, it doesn't necessarily mean you go home.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
man, I feel kind of overly privileged. I definitely had it. I had a good thing going during my mission. I don't think I ever had a lost battle. Definitely did returning from the mission though.
Yeah.
I think it was just something I had compartmentalized.
Yeah, totally.
And now we're figuring out new strategies. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Just for clarification, any of our listeners who aren't members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a mission is a 2-year service opportunity in which you go and serve the people of anywhere in the world. Really, it's wherever you happen to be called, and it's a fantastic experience and a really good opportunity to serve God, but also serve people, serve your brothers and sisters here on earth. So
yeah. Totally. All right. Where did we leave off? So this cool dude.
Yes. Well, first let's go to my wife, the number one most important aspect of me achieving recovery. So I met her the last month of my mission. She was not a missionary in my mission, but she came with her parents, who came to be the new mission leaders in my mission.
Oh.
She was their youngest daughter, and she came to help them like with the adjustment and stuff because she had already served a mission in New York, and so she was a return missionary. Absolutely amazing. I saw her and I was like, okay, I'm going on at least one date with this girl, because I was just so impressed by like her maturity and.
Oh man, he went for the mission leader's daughter.
Oh yeah, bro, I'm that guy.
Crazy,
I'm that guy. Not only did I go for it, but she said yes, so that's a dub.
Way to go! Yeah.
So yeah, as soon like 3 days after I got back from my mission, I texted her on like Facebook Messenger, and I was like, "Hey, we should like talk." And then one thing led to another, and then we started dating like later in September when we both got back to BYU. So we officially started dating September 21st, and like it was shortly thereafter where I was like, okay, like sure, I've been winning. I haven't lost a battle for over a month, but like I've lost battles in like the past 2 months, and like I'm clearly not like just over this. Like this is still a part of me. It's still something I'm going through. Like I need to tell her about it.
Oh, that's huge.
So I remember
when
when
I remember the relationship comes on and you're like,
I know
oh
this
crap.
conversation.
Oh crap. No one knows how it is, man.
It's supposed to be over by now. Dang it.
Yeah. Right? Exactly. Like I had this image in my mind like, oh, by the time I'm supposed to get married, I'll have this all figured out. You know?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
It's not that simple. Right?
No.
So I remember I pulled off into this dark parking lot at night because I was like, we need to talk. And she was like, okay. We get in the car. I don't know what she was expecting, but I tell her like, so I've struggled with pornography for like the past like 10 years of my life, and I'm not a perfect person. I made a lot of mistakes and yada, yada, yada. And like, I wish that I could say that like she was like, okay, like cool, like we can make it through this. But no, it was really, really hard for her to hear that. Like to the point where I told her like, I know like we just started dating, but if this is too hard for you, like I won't judge you if you just break up with me and never want to see me again. And she was like, thank you for saying that. So
to be continued. Oh boy.
Yeah. So
oh no.
Like it was really hard for her to grapple with, especially because like you guys, like we've been talking about, like I don't give off this facade like, hey, I look at pornography. Like nobody like looks at me and thinks that. At least I hope not.
Yeah, no.
But
no, it's a very common thing.
Yeah. So this revelation was really hard for her, and we had, but I was completely honest with her, and then I really respect her because she was completely honest with me in return. She was like this really scares me. Like, what if we get married and then you relapse, and then like I don't know if I could do that. Like I don't know if I could take it, right?
Yeah.
And so that was really hard for me to hear, but what I had said was hard for her to hear. So we were both like, something I've loved about our relationship is that we've just been like really open and honest with each other, even though sometimes it really sucks in the moment.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard.
Honesty is so important.
Yeah. But working through that, like we like came to an understanding, and I was like, I don't want to say that I'll never lose another battle again because I don't know if I can make that promise and keep it, but I will do everything in my power, right? And I wish I could say that after that conversation I never lost a battle again. But that's not what happened. I lost a few battles, several battles after that. And like,
and you remember those battles distinctly.
Oh yeah.
I bet.
I remember those well. And guys, like if you guys are thinking about losing a battle right now, it's not worth it. Just letting you know right now.
Just a side note.
Like, it's not worth it,
actually
guys.
not worth it.
So not worth it.
In case you didn't know.
Just looking back on those experiences, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Until one day, I remember distinctly, November 30th, 2023. Betsy and I had like, oh yeah, her name's Betsy, by the way.
Betsy.
She's so cool. Shout out to Betsy. Love her.
Betsy.
She, like, we had talked about getting married, and then I lost a battle the last day of November, and I remember, like, again, just like, it hurt to see her in so much pain because of this. Like, I just felt, it just, there's no worse feeling than like realizing that this person is like suffering so much and it's because of me. Like I did this to them. And so I think that was kind of a tipping point where I was like, where she was like, I don't know if I can do this again. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't say this before, but I'm going to say it now. Like, I'm never going to lose a battle again.
Oh.
And
oh,
that's a big promise, guys.
That's huge.
Really, really big.
big promise.
Yeah. And
dangerous territory right
got
there.
me sweating, man.
Yeah. But like, she was like, okay, I believe you. And I was like, okay, like I have to take this so seriously. And since that day, I haven't lost a battle. So,
dude, let's go.
So now, almost a year later, it's been, and it hasn't. I'm not going to say like, oh, it was never hard for me ever again. Like, no, it's been like the hardest battles of my life have happened since that day. But just like, I think what I finally did was like, okay, I know there are things that I need to be doing that I'm not doing to get there, right? Like the Spirit will give me promptings of things that I need to do, and I'll be like, oh, I don't need to go that far. I don't need to do that much. I don't need to do XYZ thing, because that's like normal people don't do that. I shouldn't have to do that. Whatever.
Yeah,
that is a lie from Satan, bro. Right? Like
yeah, absolutely.
Like you have to do.
I still struggle with these lies.
Yeah, like you have to do. What I've learned from this is like you have to do whatever it takes, and sometimes it's going to be really uncomfortable. Like the thing for me in going from where I was to like my sobriety and recovery right now was like recognizing, okay, I feel like this need that I need to go to bed and wake up at the exact same time every day. Ooh. Like this sleep schedule, getting enough sleep is such a huge thing. I learned from so many lost battle analyses that I always lose at night. So if I'm super intentional about when I go to bed, then I'll be more protected. And then there were like other things like, oh, I know I should be doing this, but it just seems like such a big like step to take XYZ thing. And so that day when I said I'd never lose a battle again, I was like, okay, pulling out all the stops. Like there's nothing I won't do. Like I will do literally anything and everything I have to do. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable. Sometimes I didn't want to go to bed at 11 p.m. and wake up at 7 a.m. And it really was like, I want to go hang out with my friends, but it's 10:30, so I got to go home, right? And like feelings of being left out or whatever. It was hard, and it was a sacrifice. But like, I have such a testimony that sacrifice brings forth the blessings of heaven, especially when we're teaming up with God and we're sacrificing things that the Spirit is prompting us to sacrifice. When we're doing the things that, like, we know deep down, like, at least this was my experience, I just knew deep down, like, I have to do this. This is something I have to do to achieve recovery. And in doing it, like, didn't obviously make it easy, but that's how I got here, right? Just recognizing, like, you have to do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, man. And that sleep thing, that's huge.
Yeah. It's so huge, man. It's crazy how much that changes.
I've seen a lot of studies on sleep. At least two big people. That's actually kind of funny. So Jordan Peterson, he's kind of a controversial guy, very religious, and Brian Johnson, also kind of controversial, not religious at all. They both talk about the importance of always getting to bed on time. Jordan Peterson talks about if he ever gets a new client, he always asks them two things before diving into whatever it is they're talking about. Are you getting to bed at a consistent time every night? And do you have a high amount of sugar when you wake up in the morning? And most of the time, if you can eliminate those two things, whatever they're dealing with comes down to a point where they can manage it themselves and they don't need therapy.
Just to clarify here, when you say, do you have a high amount of sugar, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
It's a bad thing.
Bad thing.
No,
don't do that.
It's like, should I be eating like sugar for breakfast?
Yeah.
Woo, sugar!
Yeah, he's like, the night sugar, well, he has a whole thing about sugar that's, he's on a carnivorous diet because he feels like that's what he needs. But I've also felt it too. This is why I avoid sugar, is because when there's a lot, your brain just gets overloaded and overstimulated with high amounts of sugar. And the night when you sleep is like, if you're someone with high susceptibility to like mental issues, not being able to control your emotions or regulate your feelings or thoughts, that just all gets heightened with sugar. And the nighttime, since you're not eating at all while you're sleeping, I hope, it's the time where your brain can heal from that. And it's actually when from the time you wake up to the time you eat your first meal is when your brain is like at its most calm and at its most functioning.
Wow.
And so he suggests like push high carbs as far away from when you wake up as possible. And then Brian Johnson with his research, he's a guy who spent $2 million running tests on his own body to discover exactly what he needed to be the most efficient person that he could be, like the most, like, I don't know, the alpha human.
Yeah.
And he says, I get to bed at the same time every night, and my body wakes me up for me at exactly when I need to wake up. And he has all these routines set in place just to make sure that his body is running at the most optimal level at whatever time. And so those are just some things I've been following to really help, because when, you know, the little things in your life make a huge difference in whatever you're trying to pursue.
Yeah.
So, Richard, you say that obviously the sleeping habits, but what other strides did you make to that you realize helped you a lot in this recovery process and has led to this year of sobriety?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say the sleep thing, even though it seems like almost silly how simple that is, was a huge, huge part of my recovery. Then another one was setting like strict boundaries with my girlfriend, who was Betsy at the time, because we didn't want to make any mistakes. I didn't want to go back to any kind of mistakes that I'd made in the past. So we made strict, specific boundaries as far as like physical intimacy go, right? And
you
we were really good
talked
about
about
keeping
it
them.
out loud?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Guys.
What?
Guys, I know it's hard to believe. I know it's hard to believe.
That's so crazy. And what?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that's
that was
a simple thing in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah. And then another big one was I started really pursuing my passion project, which was I want to be a mentor and a PWT in the Meta Moroni program. I want to give back like so many amazing people like Greg Dunford and Dallin Loosely, who I cannot praise highly enough. Like they've given me so many resources, so much coaching, so much instruction, so much like reframing that has just like helped me reconnect with my source of strength, like rediscover my true identity, find long-term healing. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. Like, how do I do that? How do I help people? And really really making that a real goal and like being like, okay, like I'm going to study, I'm going to talk about it. Like, this is going to be a real thing. Like, it's not just going to be a dream. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that happen too. And like that positive momentum, like pushing me in a direction where I wanted to go, was also hugely helpful in reducing the time I spent struggling with temptation, right?
Yeah.
Which is another huge thing the program teaches.
Yeah. Passion projects are huge.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty it's in Like Dragons Did They Fight. Highly recommend to anyone who's listening or watching, please read Like Dragons Did They Fight. There's just so much good stuff. Passion projects are amazing. Just a way, like, how would you describe a passion project, Richard, for our listeners?
Oh, good question. I would describe it as something that really, really excites you and gets you feeling passion. And I think an important way that the program describes it, or at least that Dallin, shout out to Dallin again, described it to me was like something not only that you're passionate about, but something you're passionate about that you can use to help other people, that you can use to give instead of just receive, right? And so maybe you're passionate about like playing the piano or something. And so like, okay, if you love to do that, how can you use that to like bless and serve the lives of other people around you? Like, oh, I'll go play the piano for like at this retirement home or something. I don't know. Like that's just off the top of my head. But like using things that you're already passionate about to bless the lives of people around you. Because Satan wants us so badly to disconnect from God and from other people. He wants us to go turn inward and just ruminate in the cycle of lies that he feeds us, right? So when we have our passion project, which we dedicate to looking upward to God and looking outward to other people, like it's like the biggest punch in the face to Satan, because we say to him, no, like I know you want me to turn inward, but watch what I'm going to do to bless the people around me, to connect with God, and to score points for God's team, right? So
yeah, there's that saying that I don't remember who said it. Can't remember off the top of my head, but the saying is, the opposite of addiction is not abstinence, it's connection.
yes, I believe that so wholeheartedly. Oh, did we lose Eli?
Apparently, I don't know why we lost Eli, but apparently we lost him. Oh, he's back. Woo! All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah. So,
that was very weird.
The key to addiction is not necessarily abstinence. What it is connection.
Yeah.
Creating those connections with other people, and so that's that's huge. That's been a huge thing for me to realize that my most powerful periods of sobriety are those that are filled with connection.
Yeah. It's so true.
That is so powerful. I love when you were talking earlier, you invited your dad onto the team.
Yeah.
You joined a group. You were open to your wife about what you were going through. What would you say the value is? Like, how much did it help to have other people on your team?
Wow, what a good question. It makes the entire world of difference. Like, before I talked to my dad, I tried, at least for a little bit, to find any kind of sobriety on my own. You just can't do it alone. You cannot defeat Satan on your own. You can't do it. And getting my parents on my team was already such a huge step. But then the wonderful thing is, like, you don't have to stop there. I didn't stop there. I got my priesthood leaders. I got my program. And as my support net got, like, wider and wider, I started recognizing, like, first of all, it eliminates that satanic lie of only you struggle with this, right? Like, you're the only one. You're, like, no one else could possibly be as messed up as you are, which is Satan's favorite to use on me. And when you just there's something so powerful about just, like, speaking the truth, especially when we're so accustomed to lying to hide our addictions, right? When you get it out there, when you get the words outside of just your head, and you have a team, particularly with life-changing services, when you have a team who's going through the same thing and knows, like, where you're at, it's life-changing. I see why they call it life-changing services. I'm not going to lie. Because
there you go.
It really does, like, give you so much. At least it's given me so much strength and momentum, and just also, like, empathy, like, recognizing, like, wow, like, this sucks for me, but I know this sucks for you too, man. Like, we're in this together, right? And being a part of a team is just I can't speak highly of it enough. It's so important to unite yourself with the team. It's everything.
Yeah. And do you, are you still meeting with, like, a Mena Moroni group every week?
Yeah, I guess that's the next part of my story is now I'm a mentor for a Mena Moroni group. So
no way.
Tuesdays.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Catch Kevin and I mentoring the group. You guys can show up whenever you want.
Sweet. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Maybe we can just touch briefly on this before we wrap up. But what are some of the things you do there? What's kind of the pattern of the meeting? That you facilitate.
Yeah, great question. So our meeting is made up of, like, 3 principal parts, where we do check-ins at the beginning, where we just kind of say hi, and then we ask people, okay, like, what are your numbers, like your sobriety numbers and your manpower numbers? How are you doing with your goals? And then we ask a question. It's usually something like, why are you fighting? Or we ask something like, how did you see God's hand in your life today? Or what lies has Satan been hitting you with this week? And we have an open discussion about whatever that question is. And then there's a lesson where we go over the material that the program provides, which is always so good. Like, Life Changing Services has a lot of things really figured out. And even when I'm teaching these things, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good resources and tools and good teachings that we have. And then there's also the sparring aspect of it, where if we feel like somebody's needs some extra practice battling with Satan, one of us takes the role where we're like, okay, I'm going to be Satan. I'm going to hit you with lies. What are you going to do to hit back? And
yeah. I think, that was a huge part of my recovery. And it's very, I think, like when people talk about it with their family or their support group, it's really unintuitive.
Yeah.
Like, my gosh, he's attacking you. Why is this is supposed to be a safe space? What's going on? But no, if you don't have that practice, then how are you going to win when you're outside of group?
Yeah.
Like, unless it's tested.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It's exactly what the name says, like sparring in martial arts or any kind of combat scenario. You spar so that you know what to do when the fight actually comes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Reaching out in the sense of me being a mentor. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is a good question. It's been such a privilege and an honor to be a mentor, and like I feel like try and fill the shoes of all the great guys who have mentored me. And again, it's like it's an opportunity for me to give, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like going to group doesn't give me anything. Like, I get, even as a mentor, I still get so much spiritual like energy and momentum and just warrior chemistry from seeing these guys so committed to fighting, so committed to beating the absolute crap out of Satan. And like, I think, like we were talking about earlier, I think it's so important to not only be in a team, but stay actively connected to the team, right? For example, in a parallel universe, if I weren't a mentor right now, maybe I'd be thinking, oh, I don't need to go to group anymore. Like, I vested, I'm good. But now that I have this responsibility, it's actually a way of keeping me accountable. Because like, oh, I have to show up. I'm teaching, you know? And
yeah.
And so I'm sure you guys actually, well, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming you guys have a similar experience like with this podcast. Like, you guys know you have to show up and be on the podcast. So that's a way for you guys to be like, I gotta show up, you know?
Yeah. Well, I definitely have to make sure that there is content every week. And yeah, I just feel kind of like I really want to give back to what helped so much in my recovery, and Wes and Spenny was a great part of that.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back and listen to all the episodes, man.
Please, yes. Binge the entire thing.
It's so good.
Before season 7.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
Great principles taught there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wes and Spenny.
We love them. Yeah. The ultimate question.
Yeah. let the bull out of the cage. Get ready.
Yeah. I'm fighting because I love the person that I am when I'm winning, and I hate the person that I am when I lose. I'm fighting because I love so much the relationship that I have with my wife, and because I know that a lost battle would absolutely betray her trust and destroy her. And I want so badly to keep her from that. I fight because I have my awesome guys in my 7 p.m. group, shout out to them, who are such good examples to me of what it means to be a true warrior and a disciple of Jesus Christ. And I don't want to let them down. I fight because I love the relationship that I have with my Heavenly Father. And this closeness that I've had with the Spirit recently, as I've gone further and further into recovery and sobriety, is so much sweeter and more pure and more joyful than anything I ever knew when I was living my addiction. And I can't emphasize enough how long I was just in the absolute throes of addiction. I haven't come this far in sobriety since, actually ever, because before this much time in sobriety, I would like the longest time I went without viewing pornography was before I was exposed to it, right?
Wow.
That's how just absolutely ravaged by the addiction I was. And that living a double life sucks. It really sucks. And now I'm just me. I'm just one person. I'm just living one life. And that feeling of integrity and oneness and connection is so precious to me. So that's why I fight.
Mm. Oh, so powerful, man.
Thanks.
What a warrior chemistry filled episode. Like,
yeah,
this
been good.
is
I'm
this
feeling
is
it.
amazing.
I'm feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Richard. This has been amazing. I'm so privileged I got to know you on this podcast.
Thanks.
So you're running a group. How can people sign up for that or get to know more about that?
Oh, good question. Honestly, they can just text me. I don't know if I'm allowed to give my number in the podcast. But there's
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, honestly, I'm down. Like if you guys want to talk to me, like I just want to help everybody and anybody who listens to this. So if it's okay, I'd love to put it out there. So
yeah,
okay. If anybody wants to join a group or just to talk about anything, my phone number is 713-887-1444. And now I can never take that back. And you guys be careful with that. Don't give it to strangers.
Man, that's big.
But,
yeah. And I'll message you later, see if we can put that in the show notes.
Yeah. If you can't, then check out just Google like Dragons As They Fight, Google Meta Moroni, find the program and like sign up for 7 p.m. Tuesdays. I'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll hear a similar message from Maurice at the end of this.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of this episode. So to all of us warriors out there listening and watching, please, if you know this is what you need, don't hesitate any longer. Get the help you need. Follow the show notes. Contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Podcast at lifechangingservices.org. And shall I end it off, Garrett? Do you have any closing remarks? I promise to be of service to you and will allow you to be of service to me until both you and I successfully defeat this demon that assails us. You got this.
If you're listening to this podcast, you have probably found that you are in need of, you are strongly desiring, a level of self-mastery that you have not been able to achieve on your own, or you are a loved one or a parent who knows someone who would like to achieve that level of self-mastery. It's not fun to be in that situation. Been there, done that. I've become a specialist in this area by spending 30 years initially searching for and harvesting eternal principles found in the world of psychology, science, and the words of the prophets, many of them found in the Book of Mormon, for my own sake first, and then I found that they're of great value to others. Instead of just hoarding these concepts, we put them into a book form that is easy for you to access. Like Dragons Did They Fight? You'll understand the reason why it's called that when you start reading it. But go to likedragonsfree.com, get your own free copy of it, download it, and then when you're ready to talk over your circumstances and make a battle plan, call 877-HERO-877, in other words 877-4376. Talk to our headquarters people, and if necessary, they'll arrange for you to have a consultation with me. I am sad that you're going through this, but I've watched thousands and thousands of young warriors gain the confidence and strength they need to be able to have the lives they want now and the futures they desire to have. We will see you soon.